All right, let's talk about the Chicago Bears. Obviously, at this point in time, the entire focus of the Bears organization is to figure out who the next head coach will be, who will take this team that I think, and most people agree with this, has some talent and get them going in the right direction. Well, we've got an exciting update for the Bears. There's some reports going out about one key guy in particular the Bears may be heavily emphasizing. Exciting news out of Chicago. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, so far through the Bears coaching search, there's been a couple names floated around. We've heard Vrabel thrown out there. Of course, Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions is a name a lot of people have talked about. But there's one guy that kind of started out under the radar that's getting more and more buzz in terms of being linked to the Chicago Bears, and that is current Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. We've got an update on this. Let's pull this report up courtesy of SI.com. After being fired by Arizona following 2022, Kingsbury has slowly worked his way back into the mix of head coaching opportunities after a successful season with the Washington Commanders as their offensive coordinator. Kingsbury is expected to interview with the Chicago Bears for the current opening, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who, for anyone who's not familiar, is one of the best reporters in all of just sports media when it comes to being an honest broker, calls balls and strikes. He's not in it for the clicks or anything like that. Jeremy Fowler is a great reporter. He said, I expect Kingsbury to interview there. As was told to me, most or all of the names that have been linked to the Bears are people Chicago would like to interview. Observers believe experience will be a key factor in the hiring process, and Kingsbury has experience coupled with quarterback cachet. And that, again, is according to insider Jeremy Fowler. I think this is one heck of an interesting update. I don't know if I have Kingsbury at the top of my list, but he does have head coaching experience, and he did wonders with Jane Daniels this past season. Mize, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this. But first, Bears fans, in the comment section below, grade what you would think of a Kingsbury potential hire. Would you consider him a great hire? An A. Do you think it would be okay? You want to see someone better? B minus? You think it'd be terrible? Give it an F. Whatever it is, grade a potential Cliff Kingsbury hire as the next head coach for the Bears in the comment section below. But Mize, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Chicago?
Yeah, like when you think Cliff Kingsbury, what jumps to mind for me is quarterback guy, quarterback guru, offensive whisperer. I think this is a guy who's been known around the leagues to be that kind of person. Now, when he first came into the league as a head coach, Arizona, leader of the team, making those crucial decisions as a head coach makes, I kind of question that. But as he made his mistakes, took his lumps, moved on, worked his way, been in Washington, he seems to have been a part of a successful turnaround of that organization over there so far. I think he's learned a lot. So I think this name is a very interesting one to me, especially for the quarterback aspect. Because let's be honest, Caleb Williams, for the number one overall pick for the quarterback, it's kind of disappointing in this quarterback class of guys as far as there's other guys who are outperforming him. I mean, heck, at times, even Bo Nix looked like he was outperforming him from time to time. I think Caleb Williams, he has all of the talent in the world, but they're not utilizing him to his full potential or even close to his full potential yet. I think that's the key here. And as I think Ben Johnson would be a pretty good option as an offensive minded guy who comes in to be the head coach of this Bears team, when you think of him, you think Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a veteran guy. Jared Goff is a guy who had a good amount of experience. He's kind of brought up by Sean McVay in that system. And then he comes over to the Rams. Then he starts to be good. Cliff Kingsbury has shown it now with young guys. A young guy in Jaden Daniels brings into that organization, really helps, develop and grow Jaden Daniels. We see that. That's why I think Cliff Kingsbury is such an interesting piece here. I think Kingsbury, he shows that he can take a young quarterback in multiple different situations. Obviously, the Patrick Mahomes, era, that is something that he was most notably known for early on. But what he's done with Jaden Daniels, so impressive to me, and I think that's the key here. Ben Johnson, he's done it with an older, more experienced guy who's brought up through complicated systems, and a guy like Jared Goff. But Kingsbury, he's done it with a really young guy in Jaden Daniels, and I like that. I think that gives him a couple extra bonus points in my book. So overall, I think Ben Johnson, he's the top of the list because I think he's got a lot of leadership experience. I think he's been in a great system with Dan Campbell. He's learned a lot there. but I think Cliff Kingsbury is a very, very close second in my book as to who I would like for the Bears to bring in, just because what he's done with young quarterbacks, and I think he's learned a lot this second go around on the coaching carousel.
Yeah, I mean, Kingsbury gets kind of a bad rap. He's kind of viewed as a head coaching failure, but he's taken over when he took over an Arizona Cardinals team that was an absolute dumpster fire, and within a couple of years got him to 500, and then took him to the playoffs. His last year, 2022, was a debacle. He does have a losing record as a head coach. I just double checked, 28-37-1, no playoff wins. So that's not ideal. But the reality is, if you look at what the Arizona Cardinals have been since he left, they're no better, right? They're another double-digit loss season, it seems, depending how this weekend shakes out. They're not a playoff team. It looks like they're still at least 1 or 2 years away. So it doesn't look like Cliff Kingsbury left Arizona and suddenly the team took off to the moon and was doing amazing things. So I think this rap, this negativity around Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach is a little bit overblown. Now, all that being said, I don't know if he's the primary guy. Personally, I think the Bears need more of a culture fit. But I do think the reality of the situation is, while as much as the Bears need to are really focusing on trying to find a coach to get them winning and to get things heading in the right direction, I think step one has to find the right marriage of offensive play caller to Caleb Williams. And even if you don't get the best head coaching candidate, the best guy for the culture, you need to get the guy that's the best fit for Williams. Because if that doesn't work and you waste Caleb Williams, I don't know if this organization will get a shot like they did over the past few years, where they basically fleece the Carolina Panthers, get all the draft capital, DJ Moore, right? They've got all this talent, all these first round picks. They're locked and loaded, ready to go, generational quarterback talent in Caleb Williams. You've got to take advantage of this window. And that's why I know the temptation is, well, let's get the smartest guy, Ben Johnson, or maybe let's get the best culture guy, Mike Vrabel. Honestly, if you get a guy that just works well with Caleb Williams, that may be the best solution, because this team has so much darn talent. Whenever I think of their record, I'm just blown away, because on paper, the Bears should be at least a 500 football team, or at least close to it. I think if they get someone that can just work with Caleb Williams, make him feel good about himself, figure out how to play quarterback, the team's record will improve just because of it. A great example of it is the Washington Commanders, because Jane Daniels has basically willed that team to a playoff spot. I don't think this is the best hire for the Bears, but if they do pull this off, I think they could do a lot worse. I do think it's actually a smart move to interview him too, just because, again, at the very least, he's a good safety guy. If a Johnson, for example, who I think is still the cream of the crop, decides not to go to Chicago.